South China Sea War. Today, Japan, Philippines, U.S. rebuke China over dangerous South China Sea moves. Meeting in Washington, D.C., the leaders of Japan, the Philippines, and the U.S. stressed the importance of abiding by maritime law. The leaders of Japan, the Philippines, and the United States have voiced serious concern over China's actions in the disputed South China Sea. Beijing has stepped up its activities in the strategic waterway in recent years, and tensions have risen, particularly with the Philippines, one of several Southeast Asian countries that claim the parts of the sea around their coastlines. Last month, Philippines' President Ferdinand Marcos said Manila would take countermeasures against China after a confrontation off Second Thomas Shoal injured Filipino soldiers and damaged vessels. We express our serious concerns about the People's Republic of China's PRC dangerous and aggressive behavior in the South China Sea, the three leaders said in a joint statement at the end of a first-ever summit between the three countries, which took place in Washington, D.C. Beijing claims almost the entire South China Sea under its so-called 9-dash line, which was rejected by an international court in 2016. As well as the Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, and Vietnam also claim parts of the sea. The statement noted the importance of respecting the sovereign rights of states within their exclusive economic zones is consistent with international law, as reflected in the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea UNCLOS. It also reiterated the three states' opposition to China's dangerous and coercive use of Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels in the South China Sea. Second Thomas Shoal, known as Ayungin in the Philippines, has been the site of multiple standoffs between Beijing and Manila in recent months, with China's Coast Guard using water cannon against ships trying to resupply a contingent of Filipino sailors living on board the deliberately grounded Sierra Madre. The shoal lies about 200 kilometers, 124 miles from the western Philippine island of Palawan, placing it within the Philippines' ease. According to UNCLOS, it lies more than 1,000 kilometers, 621 miles from China's southern Hainan Island. The U.S. has a mutual defense treaty with the Philippines and has repeatedly made clear that it would protect its ally if its forces came under attack anywhere in the South China Sea. Following a meeting with top diplomats on Friday, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said Washington's commitment to that treaty was ironclad. We're working in lockstep to strengthen interoperability between our forces, to expand our operational coordination, and to stand up to coercion in the South China Sea, he said. Meanwhile, Philippines Secretary of Foreign Affairs Enrique Manalo accused China of an escalation of its harassment. He said he hoped the U.S. meeting would help Washington and Manila better coordinate their diplomatic and defense responses. We are determined to assert our sovereign rights, especially within our exclusive economic zone, Manalo said. Earlier on Friday, China summoned Japanese and Philippine diplomats in the country to express what it described as strong dissatisfaction over negative comments made during Thursday's Trilateral summit in the U.S. On other media, ties with U.S. and Japan will change dynamic in South China Sea. Philippines president says. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. says building trilateral ties vital after the three countries criticized China's dangerous and aggressive behavior in the region. A cooperation agreement by the Philippines, the United States, and Japan will change the dynamic in the South China Sea and the region, the Philippine president has said, while seeking to assure China it was not a target. I think the trilateral agreement is extremely important, Ferdinand Marcos Jr. told a press conference in Washington on Friday, a day after meeting President Joe Biden and the Japanese Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, in the nation's first trilateral summit. It is going to change the dynamic that we see in the region, in ASEAN and in Asia, around the South China Sea, Marcos said, referring to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. The three leaders expressed serious concerns about China's dangerous and aggressive behavior in the South China Sea, a conduit for more than $3 to annual shipborne commerce, with various maritime disputes between China and other countries. Still, Marcos said the summit was not against any country but had focused on deepening economic and security relations between Manila, Washington, and Tokyo. China claims almost the entire South China Sea despite a 2016 ruling by an international tribunal that found Beijing's sweeping claims had no legal basis. Philippine and Chinese ships have had a series of run-ins in the past month that included the use of water cannon and heated verbal exchanges. Beijing on Thursday summoned Manila's ambassador and a Japanese embassy official to criticize what its foreign ministry described as negative comments against China. The deepening China-Philippines row coincides with an increase in security engagement with the U.S. under Marcos, including expansion of U.S. access to Philippine bases, as well as with Japan, which is expected to sign a reciprocal troop pact with Manila. Biden has asked Congress for an additional $128 million for infrastructure projects at the Philippine bases. Marcos also expressed confidence that around $100 billion possible investment deals over the next 5 to 10 years from the summit will come to fruition. While in Washington, Marcos also met the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, who assured him of continued U.S. support. This whole cooperation is critical to our collective security and continued prosperity across the region, Austin said, reiterating Biden's strong defense commitment.